Hello, it's Paul Benson again, and I wanted to share my positive experiences as a student with an episodic disability. I want to emphasize first that throughout my studies, that's face-to-face classes and online, I've received excellent support from my classmates, my professors, and the learning institutions I've attended. I'm confident that this same supportive experience can be found at virtually any of the higher learning institutions. I'd encourage all students with episodic disabilities to self-identify as disabled as soon as possible. Even if they feel that their disability is not likely to present a problem, changes can happen over time, and in my experience, they can arise very fast. The various supporting organizations within colleges and universities for students with disabilities can make all the difference. Also, when your instructor is aware of your situation, he or she can potentially make adjustments to make your experience easier to manage. Next, I want to talk about engaging with my classmates, my professors, and the course materials. I describe myself as a very motivated student. That is, I enjoy positive interactions with my profs and my classmates. My major form of engagement in online courses is through the discussion forums. I try to be very active in responding to the ideas shared and in giving supportive feedback to my classmates. Unlike many students, I actually enjoy most group work assignments, be it small or large teams. I know that may not be your typical experience as educators. I've encountered many times when group dynamics have become significantly strained. However, that's all part of the learning experience. For example, in my capstone course, the MEd program at Athabasca, I reflected on some of these less than perfect experiences in group work and my learnings from them, and that was very well received. Thanks to the availability of digital materials, I can usually access all the necessary course materials that I need without difficulty. For example, in my studies at Ryerson University, all materials are available online. With Athabasca University, they still like to ship out textbooks. Now, since I can't hold the book or open it, I have to request the digital version through the Accessibility for Students with Disabilities office. This can sometimes result in challenges because the page numbering is not always consistent between the digital and printed versions. Through strong connections with the course materials and my instructor, I'm able to build what's termed cognitive presence, as described in the community of inquiry model. I've always made extensive use of the discussion forums and group work to help me to develop strong social connections with my classmates. I've appreciated the support shown by classmates and by my professors through our interactions. Although separated by long distances and time zones, in most courses I've developed a strong feeling that we're working as a cohort and share a strong bond through the shared learning experience. In this way, I'm able to build my social presence in the learning experience, again as described in the community of inquiry model. Over the years, I've developed ongoing relationships with some of my professors and a significant number of fellow students. I think this is due partly to my gregarious nature, and using the online tools available, I try to make my online studies as close as possible to a typical classroom experience. In that way, we learn as a cohort and we really support each other. For disabled students, I suspect that this is particularly important, but probably for all students. In particular, when disabled students start to encounter new health issues that can potentially knock scheduled coursework off track. I think that's particularly important to have strong connections. Now, when it comes to using voice commands to edit and input data, which is now the way I work, there were some challenges. When I first transitioned from using the keyboard to using Dragon Naturally Speaking, I found that there were significant limitations on my ability to dictate directly into the learning management system. To get around those issues, I would typically dictate into Microsoft Word or Notepad or DragonPad, which is similar to WordPad, but it's embedded in Dragon Naturally Speaking. In that way, I could then take a file and then cut and paste it into the learning management system. Over time, I found that all of these issues could be addressed, but it did take me time and sometimes made my work a bit more onerous than it would be on most students. You may find similar areas that are more challenging than others, depending on your particular disability. Again, I'd emphasize that sharing information about your challenges with your professors and your classmates really increases everyone's understanding of what you're encountering, and it provides more opportunities for helpful support. Now, I want to talk a little about the benefits for everyone that we get from universal design for learning. So I looked up a definition of the 3 principles of universal design for learning as defined by Kurzweil. The first one is multiple means of representation. That is, giving learners various ways of acquiring information and knowledge. The second principle is multiple means of expression, providing learners with alternatives for demonstrating what they know. And the third aspect is multiple means of engagement. So that then becomes the challenge to the instructor or the course designer to ensure that they tap into learners' interests, offer appropriate challenges in order to increase the motivation of the students. As a disabled student, I've been offered multiple ways of demonstrating my learning. Though these have generally been offered reactively rather than proactively, I'm hopeful that the accommodations that were offered to me will subsequently be incorporated into the course structure and made available to other students. For example, when I first transitioned from using a keyboard to dictating using Dragon, I was given the option of giving a verbal presentation with a supporting PowerPoint presentation instead of submitting a 2,500-word essay. Presenting in this format can provide proof of learning just as well as submitting an essay. For some students, it can be far superior. By offering alternatives like this, more students can find the means of displaying their learning that best matches their strengths and capabilities. Alternative ways of demonstrating a student's learning, not yet incorporated in the course structure, can be offered as an accommodation. The power in the UDL approach is when this semester's accommodations are reviewed, evaluated, and embedded in the next version of the course. Ideally, fewer accommodations will be required as time goes on. This is organic course evolution. I've already described the ways in which I engage with the learning materials my classmates and my professors. I think there are many ways for the instructor to engage students. For example, suggesting areas for research, supporting student-created projects, stimulating broad-based examinations of issues, encouraging wider collaborations. These help everybody, and not just students with disabilities. Although I'm not a practicing instructional designer, at least not currently, there are many electronic tools available now through which a course designer can enhance learning by creatively addressing the teaching presence portion of the community of inquiry model. I encourage you all to experiment with new approaches, bearing in mind the wide diversity of students that will benefit from your efforts. So in conclusion, I just wanted to say that online learning provided through a learning management system can be enhanced greatly by embracing the principles of universal design for learning. And effective learning opportunities can be provided to students with disabilities through both online and in face-to-face classes. I believe the keys to setting up students with episodic disabilities for successful learning experience involves empathy, understanding, and good communication. It also requires an openness to doing things differently where required. In my case, instructors have been willing to include me as a virtual student in face-to-face classes. I believe that willingness to try these new kinds of experiments makes learning not only more widely accessible, but more closely connected to the needs of individual students. By focusing on individual learning needs, success follows, and human capabilities are respected and celebrated. I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to take your time and wish you success with all your efforts. Thank you.